Hello Internet, Shroom here, and tonight I'm heading back to the modern format in Magic the Gathering Online. And when the Lord of the Rings set released, I built a deck that I called 8-Mans that used one of the new cards from the set, and I thought that was a really interesting deck. So tonight I'm trying a slightly different build of that deck. And what is 8-Man exactly? Well, let's take a look. So this is a Jeskai kind of prison deck, and we're trying to set up a couple of effects. One of those is a Rule of Law effect that restricts players from casting more than one spell per turn. So one of those that we have is a Rule of Law, 2 copies of this, 3-mana enchantment. Each player can't cast more than one spell per turn. We also have some creatures that do a similar thing. Aethersworn Canonist is only 2 mana, 1 and a white for 2/2. Each player who has cast a non-artifact spell this turn can't cast additional non-artifact spells. And we've got a couple of 3 Archon of Emeria. It's a 3 mana, 1 and 2 white for a 2/3 flyer. Each player can't cast more than one spell each turn. It also makes non-basic lands our opponents control enter the battlefield tapped. And we're trying to combine this with effects that restrict our opponents to only sorcery speed casting, such as obviously Teferi Time Raveler. You know this jerk, 1 white, 1 a blue and a white for a 4 mana planeswalker with a static ability. Each opponent can only cast spells anytime they can cast a sorcery. You can +1 him to bounce. To allow us to cast a sorcery as though it had flash. You can -3 him to bounce an artifact creature or enchantment and draw a card. So if we can combine these effects, we are restricting our opponents to casting only one spell on their turn at sorcery speed, which means basically only one spell every turn cycle. Now, when I initially built this deck, we really want this effect, this like timing restriction effect, to really choke off our opponent's possible windows for playing spells. So initially I had a couple copies of Teferi Zelfin Mage in this deck, which is like a 5 mana flash 3/4 that just did the static ability of Teferi. But I kind of forgot that Grand Abolisher was legal in Modern, which I think is probably better just because it's so much cheaper. It's just 2 white for 2/2. During your turn, your opponents can't cast spells or activate abilities of artifacts, creatures, or enchantments. So essentially, it doesn't restrict our opponent to sorcery speed on their turn. But if we have a Rule of Law effect, that doesn't matter that much. They're still restricted to only one spell per turn. So when our lock is a Rule of Law effect plus a Teferi effect to restrict our opponent to one spell every turn cycle, preferably at sorcery speed on their turn, ideally, but only one spell per turn cycle. And we combine this with 8 Remands. We have actual Remand, 4 copies, of course. 1 in a blue for an instant counter target spell. If the spell is countered in this way, put it into their hand instead of that player's graveyard and draw a card. So this takes up this is a huge tempo play early in the game, and they're restricted to 1 spell per turn cycle. They try to cast it. We just proceed to remand it, and we draw a card in the process as well. And in the Lord of the Rings set, the spell Reprieve was printed, which does the same thing, basically. It's actually a little better because it returns the spell to its owner's hand. It doesn't counter it, so it can actually counter things that can't be countered, like Supreme Verdict, like some other things. So that's the combo. We restrict our opponent to 1 spell per turn cycle, which we then proceed to remand. And now, after I played a few matches with the initial build of this deck, I came to some conclusions, one of which it needed more card draw. So what I've done is added a couple of impulses. I wanted this to be instant speed because I want to be able to play it either on my turn or my opponent's turn, since we're also going to be under the restriction of Rule of Law. And this is just 2 mana, look at 4 cards, put 1 in your hand, and the rest on the bottom. So it digs pretty deep for our combo pieces. And I wanted some kind of repeatable source of card draw as well, so I'm trying out Jace Beleriand. This is a planeswalker that I've actually never played before, and I don't think it's really very good. It is 3 mana walker, which is powerful. 1 and 2 blue for a 3 loyalty walker. It can +2 each player draws a card. Now in this deck, that's actually not so bad, because our opponent's gonna have cards in their hand because we're preventing them from playing their cards. That's the whole strategy of our deck. So giving them additional cards really doesn't do much. It doesn't really hurt our plan at all, because we're just going to remand whatever they play anyway, and they can only cast 1 spell per turn cycle. So I think Jace actually might be good in this deck as a 3 mana planeswalker that just draws us extra cards every turn. He can also -1 target player draws a card, so if there's ever a situation where we don't want our opponent to draw a card for some reason, we can make it so that only we draw, and the -10 is going to be irrelevant. Theoretically, it could be like a win con. target player mills 20 cards. We would have to do that 3 times. So that takes what? That would take like 4 turns to accomplish, 3 plus 2s, and then a -10. So that's not a realistic way that we're ever going to kill anyone, but this is just a card draw piece. The other thing that I decided that I needed was more win cons and better win cons, because my win cons for the initial build was just 4 Fevered Visions, and I still have a couple in here because it is good in the deck. It's an enchantment for 1, a blue, and a red. At the beginning of each player's end step, that player draws a card. If that player is your opponent and has 4 or more cards in their hand, Fevered Vision does 2 damage to that player. So this is something that slowly will ping our opponent as they, languish with cards in their hand that they can't play. But it's just, there's some situations early in the game particularly where you really don't want to play this card, like before the lock is assembled. And it was just a little awkward running a full play set. So I added some other win conditions. I added 1 Chandra Torch of Defiance. It's kind of like a card draw piece, but can also be a win condition with the ultimate. It's just a very strong Planeswalker. It can kill creatures. It can sort of draw cards. It can add mana. You all know Chandra. It's just an extremely powerful card. As well as 2 Wandering Emperors, which, again, it's a little boring, but if you're playing white, control kind of deck like this, it's a win condition. It can make those samurais that will get in and put counters on the samurais, and it's also removal that gains life. So I think that's a vast improvement as far as winning the game over just 4 Fevered Visions. And then the rest of the deck is just like interaction. We've got a couple of lightning bolts to kill early stuff. We've got a couple of March of Otherworldly Light. I'm a big fan of this card in Modern because it can, for 1 mana, instant speed, destroy Urza's Saga. Urza's Saga is actually something that is very good against us because it's a card that can definitely beat us that doesn't require casting spells because it's only a land. So that's why I think it's important to run a couple of March in the main board. Also, 1 Prismatic Ending can hit cheap stuff, can hit Renin 6, Teferis, stuff like that. So that's the plan. Oh, there's 24 lands in the deck. The only tech is we got 1 Fiery Islet for a little digging, 1 Otawara for some bounce. We've got 2 Triomes, a Rafine's Tower, and a Rogran Triome, so that we can get our Prismatic Endings up to 4 colors if needed. The mana base might need a little tweaking. I did make some last-minute changes prior to the stream, so I don't know that it still is good to support. Oh, I forgot to mention another important new addition is Cryptic Command. We've got a couple of these. These are kind of like Remands number 9 and 10. 3 blue and 1 for an instant. Choose 2. Counter target spell. Return target permanent to its owned hands. Tap all creatures your opponent's control or draw a card. So these are just like big fat Remands. They actually counter the spell that's being cast though, and they replace themselves. The choice I had to make was because I just wanted more Remand effects in the deck. So I felt like I had a choice between Silence or Cryptic Command, and I decided to go with Cryptic Command because I like the card draw. I like the fact that it replaces itself. Maybe Silence would just be a better option because it is so cheap, and the mana restriction for Cryptic Command might not work out well for us at all times. I think it should be okay, but Cryptic Command is certainly a powerful card, tried and true. Lots of people have played this card in the past, and it replaces itself. So I decided for tonight I will go with Cryptic Command, but this very well could have been Silence, and that might have been a better choice. The sideboard contains a Path to Exile as additional removal against creature-based decks, mid-range decks. I actually like this against Tron because it's a very clean answer to Wormcoil Engine, also Murktide Regent. I'm running 3 Hushbringers to shut down ETB decks, which there are many. A couple of Rest in Peace shuts down graveyard-based decks. Stony Silence against those artifact decks. A second Prismatic Ending against Creativity, Renin 6 decks. Renin 6 in particular is an excellent target for Prismatic Ending. Heliod's Intervention is good against aggressive decks because it can gain us life. It also can mass destroy exiles and artifacts and enchantments. 1 Alpine Moon against Tron against Urza Saga's decks. Couple of Dovin's Veto against control decks. 1 Supreme Verdict as a sweeper. Couple of Pithing Needles to name like the One Ring. Other troublesome artifacts, planeswalkers. It's a good catch-all card, really. Our deck is naturally very resistant to the Cascade decks because we are playing a full playset of Teferis in the main. Also, the Rule of Law just shuts down Cascade because they're only restricted to one spell each turn. They can't cascade from their Shardless Agents into any additional spells. So that's great that we're naturally good against that. So that is the deck. We are going to lock our opponents out of meaningful plays, and we're going to beat them down with our Planeswalkers, Fevered Visions, Chandras, etc. And we got the additional card draw to help us dig up those pieces. We've got Cryptic Command as Remand number 9 and 10. So I feel like this version should do better than the first one. Although when I was playtesting it, I kept running into scam deck after scam deck after scam deck, and just got trashed. The problem with the scam deck is like we do have like the Hushbringers and stuff. We have stuff that can hate them out, but they just have so much removal too, and we have no answer to the turn one, grief, double Thoughtseize. So that's a problem. It's possible that some of the sideboard cards would be better served as Lane Line of Sanctity, but this isn't like it's not meant to be a super tier like Pro Tour deck that you're going to take down a major tournament. This is just kind of more of a casual deck, and so in that environment, hopefully it will do a little better than it did in testing, and we won't run into scam every single match. So let's play some 8-man, now kind of honorary 10-man. We're going to play on the practice queue, because again, I don't just want to run into scam match after match. It's just not very much fun. This is more of a casual deck. If there were some demand or interest in me playing leagues instead of just playing in the practice queues, I would be receptive to that. Just leave a comment in the comment section down below if you want to see me play leagues, or if you have anything else that you'd like to comment about this deck, or if you just want to support me and my channel and you like off-meta, off-kilter MTG content. That like and that sub and that comment really help out a lot in that regard. All right, we're going to get V-Box, and we're on the play. And this is a fine hand. We even have an answer to a turn 1 Ragavan if our opponent plays one, so we'll keep. We've got our lock pieces, Rule of Law and Teferi. So we'll just play a tap land turn 1. Spire Bluff. I don't like Spire Bluff Canal. So I'll play a fetch and go get my Esper Triome. Consider, so probably just Murktide. It could be a number of different decks. There's a lot of Izzet in Modern. Bobble. Alright, so most likely they have a counterspell. So I think I would rather get Rule of Law countered than Teferi. They let it go. Ledger Shredder. So they're definitely representing Spell Pierce. I think I'll play my land and go for Canonist. We're struggling to choose what mana we want to tap here. The Unholy Heat. I wouldn't mind a Grand Abolisher. Legislator's not going to do much in a rule of law environment, since it's literally impossible for anyone to cast more than one spell per turn. Reprieve. I think I'll just hold up the Wandering Emperor. If they go for like a, okay, Bauble is their spell per turn. Yeah, so now I know I can cast the Emperor. We'll just kill the Ledger Shredder, I guess. Another Teferi. Alright, let's... I have one loyalty. Let's just plus. I could have just let the Ledger Shredder go. Sure, we'll go for Teferi number 1. This is going to get countered. Subtlety. They hardcast Subtlety. We'll put Teferi on the bottom. So they'll get to kill our Emperor too. Well, opponent. Seems like a no-brainer to kill the Emperor here. Expressive Iteration. Somehow still legal in Modern. Grand Abolisher. Let us abolish. This is going to get countered. Oh, it resolves? Oh, man. They're in trouble now. I got a remand. I just need to draw, like, nothing but remands for the rest of the game. Please, more remands. We will accept Cryptic Command as well. Arcanist doesn't help, really. I think I go to Fairy. Bounce Subtlety. Draw Remand. No. Where are our remands? There's 10 of them. There's 10 of them in our deck. See, now they can, like, if they stick like a Murktide, we're in big trouble. Okay, they just go with Kill the Abolisher. That's alright. We still have our sorcery speed lock. We just need to find remands. That's not a remand. How about Fevered Visions? Can you find us a remand, please? Please, a remand. They scooped the match? What? Come on. You're playing Murktide. Okay, we're against Fat Magic. Fat with a PH, of course. And this looks good. We've got a Remand. We've got an Abolisher. Impulse to dig for other pieces. Yeah, we'll count that. We'll count that first match as a victory. Because it was a moral victory, if nothing else. Goblin Guide, burn. Might be a little rough. Okay, we do get to draw free land. Well, fortunately, we've got basic lands in hand, so that's good. I'll just play my lightning bolt. Mountain, leave up bolt. Oh, I have to discard the hand size? I should have just bolted the guide, huh? I guess I'll discard one of these fetch lands. I should have discarded Scalding Tarn. Because they already saw that. The reason why I didn't just bolt the Goblin Guide on my turn is because I want to see if it gives me another land. Rift Bolts. Fever Visions is the top card. Here comes the Rift Bolt. I was about to say no threat to play. That's pretty lucky for us. Skullcrack. Okay, just 2 burn spells. Alright, we'll go get our Rogrin Triome. We don't need 4 colors in this matchup. The Wandering Emperor's not bad. Another Skullcrack. Well, guess we'll take it. I want to Impulse, see if I can find my 4th land. There's Teferi. Flooded Strand, I guess. There's an Archon of Emeria. I don't want to play it yet until I can hold up Remand, because they could have, like, Searing whatever it is. Searing Blaze. Boros Charm? Jeez. Just all in on the burn. Yeah. We're going to 3. By fetching. Fetching an island. We'll play the Emperor. They could just bolt us right now. Okay, definitely taking a gamble here. I would love to draw like an untapped land, so I could Archon and hold up Reprieve. They could just bolt us right here. Steam Vents. Well, I can't shock that. Now I wish I had fetched a Plains so that I could Grand Abolisher and hold up Reprieve. That was probably a mistake. Definitely can't shock that. Or can I? Like, I'm dead to any burn spell they draw. So what does it matter if I'm at 3 or at 1? I think I shock. And I play Archon. Their fetch and ETB's tapped. Searing Blaze will get reprieved. More Fevered Visions. Can I draw another Remand, please? Yes. This token has Vigilance, which is kind of a bummer, actually. Okay, so final piece of the lock. You can't cast during our turn. Let's put another counter on the Samurai. Now I just want to draw nothing but Remands for the rest of the game, and we'll win. We actually have lethal next turn, so I think we win this one. Searing Blaze. Guess what, opponent? Remand. That is your spell for this turn cycle. And we're lethal on the backswing. You can't cast spells during our turn. +1 on the Samurai. Attack for lethal. Okay. So what do we want? They scooped the match. Oh, come on, opponents. Doesn't even want to play Magic. Alright, let's see if we can get a complete match. That'll be the achievement for tonight. We're against Craig Abbott 89 on the play. We'll keep this. Might get to try out Jace Beleriand. He might be a bit of a win more. Because I don't think I want to just play him unless I already have some lock pieces. Alright, we'll go get our Jeskai Triome. And we'll get our Esper Triome. On the other hand, I kind of don't really mind too much if he gets countered. Probably just get, like, Unholy Heated or something. But let's play him. I've never resolved a Jace Balerion. And I still haven't. So they look like Murktide. Just draw go, huh? Well, I'm not drawing much of anything. I think I will end of turn sack my Fiery Islet to try to find some action. I don't want to play Fevered Visions in this situation. That's the problem with Fevered Visions, is like, you don't just want to run it out. Nimble Obstructionist. Okay. Just a 3-1. We'll just let that go. Let's draw a card. Arcanist is pretty good. So is Abolisher. Let's go Canonist. They let it go. Clearly have a counterspell, though. Another Nimble Obstructionist. Okay. They're just trying to hose fetch lands. Let's grab Island. We are dying to these dudes. Let's go Abolisher. Let's Scalding Tarn. Attack. I think we do have to try to kill one of these Nimble Obstructionists. So let's do that now. Archmage's Charm, okay. Considers their spell for turn. So I need to find answer off this impulse into draw answer. We go into 1 again. Gotta fetch a basic. GG, our opponent says. So let's see. What gives us the best chance? Teferi. Bounce. I guess Teferi is the best chance for now. The Emperor lets us kill one and gain 2 life. We still die to the other one. Short-term Teferi gives us the best chance, so I guess we'll take that. Remand. Okay, let's Teferi. And if they have a counter here, we are dead. Subtlety. Okay. So, yeah, we're dead. So let's go with... Hushbringers seem really good. They trade with the Obstructionist. They shut down Subtlety. Veto. Let's cut Jace. Fevered Visions. March is good. Prismatic is good. Path to Exile. It's better than March, I think. Cut a Canonist. I like Archon better. We're cutting one of those. We can cut one Grand Abolisher. Run 61. Sideboarding is always hard for like a combo deck like this. Well, we have only 1 land. We do have Hushbringer, which is something. And removal and remands. But I think we need more lands. I don't want to go to 5, so I guess I'll keep this. We are quite... We do lean heavily on fetch lands, which is a little unfortunate against what our opponent's doing. More Archons. Hushbringer. I think I want to go for Archon. Little shock here. Counterspell. Well, do you have another counterspell? They are demonstrating that they do. Our Archmage's Charm. We missed our land drop, which is really bad. Which is why you shouldn't run 61 card libraries. Another counterspell. Remand. Let's go for a Hushbringer. We'll leave up a Bolt if they play a Obstructionist. Serum Visions. Well, control mirror matches are really hard to win if you get behind on land drops. So we're probably going to lose this. Rule of Law. Counter. Not that we're really a control deck. We're more of a combo deck. This is a terrible matchup for you, opponent says. Yes, it is. Especially when I miss and drops. Prismatic Ending. I'll just take the 2 from the Snapcaster. Still missing my 4th land. Okay. GG, our opponent says. You know, GG is for the loser of a match to say when the match is over or about to end, or for the winner to say after the match is over in some cases. That's my feelings about GG. So when people say it at inappropriate times, I think it is safe to call it GG, though, since I keep missing land drops. But anyway, yeah, the hard control decks are tough. And that was a that was a mulligan out of a 1-lander. Our second hand wasn't good against them. Savo 081 is our opponent. We're on the play again. It's slow. Actually, we have a turn 2 Arbiter into turn 3 Teferi, so that's our combo. If we don't get disrupted. But probably a Thoughtseize coming here. Oh, it's Mill. Hedron Crab. Well, that's probably not the best. We don't really have anything per se against Mill. I mean, actually, Grand Abolisher into Archon is our combo. These are redundant effects. Alright. So you can't play anything during our turn. That means you can't archive trap us, which is cool. Visions of Beyond. Well, their hand's not very good. Trying to cast another spell. What? Oh, duh. Fatal Push. Yeah. Okay, I'll go for Teferi here. Bounce the crab. Draw a land. Now I just want to draw Remands. The crab is back. And then nothing else. Alright, let's plus to fairy. Let's Archon. I could have gone for a shock fetch land there, but that's okay. Now I want to draw nothing but Remands for the rest of the game. We have the lock. More crabs. Fortunately, just a basic land. Sheesh, so bad at drawing Remands. Cryptic Command would have been acceptable too. Alright. I'm gonna go Fevered Visions. Can I please draw Remand? Let's attack. I'm gonna go ahead and just fetch Shock while I know they can't interact. I'm so bad at drawing Remands. That's like all I need for the rest of the game is more Remands. How many have they milled? They haven't really milled me very much. Only one Remand in my graveyard. I think that this deck needs like a playset of Drown in the Lock to kill my Archon. Oh, I got another one. I need like a playset of cantrips, like a playset of Impulse. Or Preordain, maybe even. Maybe a 2-2 split. So they can play another spell right now. They have a third crab. You get milled for 7. Feeding their cat or something. Oh, surgical extraction. What? Okay. On Cryptic Command. Fine. I see. They're looking through my yard, deciding what to surgical. Well, there's only 2 in my deck. Remand. So they've still moved. Okay, they milled 4 of our 8 remands. Which means there's still 4 left. March of Otherworldly Lights. So let's plus Teferi. I don't think I want to march crabs. I think I just play Arcanist. Leave up the Emperor. Another Teferi. Opponent's playing quite slowly. Fatal Push on the Arcanist. Okay. I think we actually have to march crab. Sure, Arcanist down. Jace the Perfected Mind. Fractured Sanity. Killing me for 14. Okay. I should have fetched in response to that. Because now I'm not sure if I have any fetchable lands. Crab people. Alright, let's bounce a crab. Draw a card. Jace Beleren. Not really what we're looking for. Let's play another Teferi. Bounce another crab, draw a card. Archon. Only 6 cards left in our library, so if they draw another big mill spell, we're dead. They drown the Archon. Play their crabs. Well, this was a cascading failure of not drawing Remands. There were a couple of critical turns where if I could find a Remand, but we just couldn't. Alright, so we want Veto, Prismatic Ending for the crabs. Is that it? I don't really have a lot that's good against their deck. Pad to exile. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things that can kill crabs. Wandering Emperor's not great. I suppose it's needed, though. Cut Jace. We need stuff that can kill them. Cut Cryptic Command. Maybe this is too much removal. I'll cut the path. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Stuff that can kill crabs early. Should be good. Okay. I think I can keep this. We have 2 rule of laws. We don't have an answer to a crab, though. We do have a remand. I'll keep. All fetch lands, though. I'll just do this now. When they have the least likelihood of having an archive trap. There's a turn 1 crab. More lands. I'll go Canonist. Another crab would be really bad. But there's not really anything I can do about it. I could remand it, but they just get to play it again. Remand is better when we already have the lock. Here's Fatal Push. No. Okay, holding up Drown. I don't want to Archon here. I don't think. I think I just probably try to bolt the crab. Yeah, I did this wrong. What I really should have done is passed. If they tried to go for Drown, remand it, upkeep stop, bolt the crab. I think that would have been a much better line. Here comes the Drown. Okay. Yeah, that would have been much better. Remand that on their upkeep, bolt the crab. Oh my gosh, opponent. Come on. Okay. Well, I don't want to Archon without Remand backup, so I guess we're just passing again. Okay, they're gonna go for Archive Trap here, it looks like. Uh-huh. We'll get a Plains. The question is, do I Remand it? I have... Oh, Fatal Push? That I will Remand. Maybe I don't need to since I have Archon in my hand. Yeah, I probably should have just let that go. They didn't need to Revolt Fatal Push to do that. They needed a black mana? I don't know. Yeah, I messed up. I messed up this game. I really messed up this game. I don't think I should have... that was my end step. I should not have remanded that Fatal Push. Okay. So they draw a bunch of cards. Like, I have not been drawing well this game. That is definitely sure. I've drawn a ton of lands and like all of my rule of law effects, but none of my other stuff. Rule of law. Let's try to resolve one. Resolves. Another crab. Good choice playing that crab. Well, it's possible opponent times out before they mill us out. Unlikely, though. They have double ruin crab. We're at 24. Probably just scoop if they have an archive trap. They don't. Alright, let's go with Archon. And we are remandless. You're now 10 minutes behind me on the clock. They decide to let it go. I probably should have brought in Rest in Peace for this matchup too, because that shuts down Visions of Beyond and Drown in the Lock. That would have been good. Eliminate. Okay. Also shuts down their Shelldock Isle. Wandering Emperor. Archon number 2. 2.5. Not even sure if I have a fetchable land to play the Wandering Emperor. We'll find out. Archive Trap. Just hardcast, yeah. Actually, that mills us for 14. $13. Yeah, that's good enough. Well, that was unfortunate. We got pretty unlucky not finding any remands in the first game. In the second game, like I kept a bad hand too. I think you need to have an answer to turn 1 crab against Mill. And I also made some pretty poor sequencing decisions. So, GG's. We're going to be on the play against Floppy Sock. That looks like a keep on the play, on the draw, play. Just hope they don't have like turn 1 Ragavan. If they do, we're in trouble. Shock, no Thoughtseize, okay. Go for Glacial Fortress. Godless Shrine, Field of Ruin. Alright, let's Impulse. Find our Rule of Law. We found another remand. Or a land. I guess I go for the land. I wish I had grabbed that remand. Alright. Let's fetch a plains. Go for Teferi. Let's plus. Bolts. Goodness me. We only have one red source, so remaining a bolt wouldn't be terrible. K command. Make me discard ping Teferi for 2. I think I'll remand that. That's a good tempo play. I like Impulse. Let's get a basic, because we're probably shocking ourselves on our turn. Let's Impulse again. Another Teferi, remand Archon. Reprieve. Well, we want Archon. Full of Law. Plus Teferi. Let's Archon. Prismatic Vista. Alright, the lock is assembled. You cannot cast spells on our turn. They scoop. Okay, so what's going on over there? Just Rakdos stuff? We're not even bored in. They probably have like Fury and Grief, right? Let's bring in Hushbringers and some vetoes. Let's cut March, a bolt. I just don't think Jace. Let's leave Jason. Maybe we'll get to cast him once. An Emperor. A Canonist. And a Fevered Visions. Alright, opponent chooses to play first. And we can't keep this. It's a one-lander. That's better. We have turn 2 Canonist, turn 3 Teferi. Of course, that's very unlikely to stand. But, I don't think you can mull this and go to 5. There's a Hushbringer. Alright, Rogrin Triome. I think I will play the Hushbringer first. Because if their removal is elemental based, it won't work. If it's not, I would rather have the Hushbringer get bolted than Canonist or Teferi. Terminate. Kind of seems like our opponents are just like removal deck. Literally just nothing but removal spells. Well, they didn't have one there. Crucible of Worlds. Okay, are they trying to like Field of Ruin us into oblivion? Let's go for Teferi plus. Yes, they are trying to Field of Ruin us into oblivion. Shattering Spree. Okay. Dreadbore. Okay. So let's go Arbiter. Actually, I think we wait a turn so that we can hold up Cryptic too. Let's just pass. So kill everything you have till they can infinitely loop Field of Ruins and destroy all your lands. Okay. I do have another Plains, fortunately. They do it again. I don't have a second island, but I have my Otawara. but they'll be able to field the Odawara. That's not a bad draw. I guess maybe I should have held that to try to bounce the Crucible. Oh, I could upkeep stop and do it. Bolts. Yeah, let's Cryptic. Okay, they know I'm out of basics now. Thoughtseize. Alright, let's march their Crucible. Play our land, which they know about. Nahiri. And another Crucible. Draw more lands. It's not looking good. And they probably have Emrakul. Let's just verify. Jace Balerion. Draw me a card, please. Lightning bolts. Could keep Nahiri from ultimating. I have to assume they have Emrakul or something horrible, right? Let's see what kill spell they have for Jace. They discarded Emrakul. Oh man, that might have been better for me to let her ultimate. Alright, so I'm working with 4 lands for the rest of the game, it looks like. Teferi. Let's draw a card. The Wandering Emperor. Let's play the Wandering Emperor. I suppose there's no reason for me to do this right now. I should have waited. I should have waited till their end step. I don't know why I just ran that out. Pithing Needle. Name's the Wandering Emperor. Yep, got us down to just basics. Okay, I know I can't fetch anything off Prismatic Vista. So let's Teferi. Bounce the Needle. Make another Samurai. Cryptic Command I'll never be able to cast. I really don't want to give them more cards. So I guess I'm just cashing in my Jace. Remand. So I gotta keep Nahiri from ultimating. Bolts a Samurai. Hushbringer. So let's plus. Let's Hushbringer. It actually does stop the Emrakul ETB. But I can't risk letting Nahiri get it. Because they could always draw a bolt for Hushbringer or something. Dreadbore, well, I can remand that. They don't have the mana to play it again. Arid Mesa is useless. Boy, this is a stupid game. This is such a bad game. This is an incredibly bad game. What would be my best draw? Like an Aethersworn Canonist. And then just a bunch of Remands. Fatal Push the Hushbringer, okay. Dreadbore the Teferi. Let's Reprieve. Draw another useless land. I feel like I should scoop just for like entertainment purposes of this video. I may not have necessarily lost. Thoughtseize. Remand. They just cast it again. Chandra would have been good. Sure, fine. Okay. So we want Pithing Needles. March is good. Prismatic's good. I don't think we want bolts. I think we want both the Prismatics because they can hit artifacts. Let's get our second Wandering Emperor. Both our marches too. Cut Jace. The Canonist isn't great because they can kill artifacts with their stuff too. Cut an Abolisher. Cut a Cryptic Command. This hand lacks white mana. If it doesn't get white mana quickly, it doesn't do much. If it does, it's not bad. I think I want something better. That's good, I guess. Rule of Law is really good against them because they have no way of dealing with that unless they Thoughtseize it. So let's bottom Fevered Visions. Okay, do need to draw land. Damping Sphere. Okay. We're a Rule of Law deck. Our whole plan is to have everyone play only one spell per turn. I think maybe they don't understand that this card is actually totally useless against us. Ugh. Alright. Hold up our Remands and Impulse end step. Another Damping Sphere. Double Damping Sphere. Uh-huh. That helps us so much more than it hurts us. So yeah, we want land number 3. Those are all good spells I would like, but gotta make my land drop. So let's go with Rule of Law. I mean, do I even need to play that? Like, they're doing it for me. I think Teferi is better, right? Now, they could have, like, double bolt. So I guess I will play Rule of Law. Back up Teferi's good. Feeling Needle. Naming Teferi. I don't even really care about it that much. I draw more Teferis. What I really need is lands. I guess I'll go for Archon. Nahiri. Okay, I can actually X equals 4. Prismatic Ending. I guess that's what I'm gonna do. Attack them down to 10. more for Archon. More Teferis. Okay. Well, we got Remands for days. That's good. Hushbringer. Finding land number 5 would be so nice. I guess I'm keeping this Hushbringer alive. I'm going to remand the first removal spell at least. Yeah, let's remand it. Just to draw a card and maybe find a land. Cryptic Command. You cannot cast another spell? Okay. What are you doing? Yes, rule of law. And you cannot cast spells on our turn. Another rule of law. Hushbringer gonna get there on her own. Lightning Bolt. Let's Cryptic that. Counter draw, just to use our mana. Impulse. You still can't cast spells. And they scoop. Alright, that's the lock. Got him good. El Rodeo Dos is our opponent. We're on the play. We've been on the play a lot tonight. Not complaining. And this looks good. We've got removal. We've got card draw. We don't have any of our lock pieces, but we've got an impulse to dig. We've got 2 cryptics for later in the game. Play planes. Delver. Okay. So I think we kill the Delver. Rule of Law should be good against a Delver deck, isn't it? I don't know, maybe not. I guess it's more like they're just about flipping the Delver. Teferi's probably better than Rule of Law. There's Teferi. Do we just jam? I don't think so. I think I try to get to 5 mana. Let's Impulse. Archon or land? Let's go for an Archon. It is 3 lands I'm putting on the bottom of my library, which is slightly concerning. Yikes. They have Counterspell. They shock. They have a Murktide. Well, this is going to be a blowout if it resolves. Hopefully they don't have Force of Negation. Bounce your Murktide. Phew, make our land drop too. That was good. Dreadhorde Arcanist. Doesn't have anything to recycle at the moment. Should they have an Unholy Heat or a Bolt for Teferi? Demolition Field. Okay. We'll grab an island. Wizard's Lightning. Huh. So, what to do here? I could just bounce Arcanist, draw a card. Looking for land number 6, so next turn... The turn after next. 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I think I like this idea. Since we have 2 Cryptics. Excellent. We did find a land. Did we already play a land this turn? Uh-oh. Yeah, but that allows us to next turn, or with the turn they attack with the Arcanist, have the Wandering Emperor with counter backup with Reprieve. I don't know if that's good enough though. Anyway, we found our land. That's a good thing. Another demolition field. Okay. Murktide Regent. Let's go ahead and reprieve that. Ha ha ha. And their graveyard is empty too. Okay, let's resolve this Wandering Emperor while we know we can. Force of Negation. Let's remand Force of Negation. Make a Samurai. So they have a Force of Negation in hand. It's the Arcanist, much less threatening when their graveyard is totally empty. Force of Negation, Murktide, one unknown card. That's their hand. Or did they exile their Murktide? I think they exiled their Murktide. Alright, so let's plus on my Samurai. Let's attack with the Samurai. Let's go for a Rule of Law. Counterspell. So, Teferi, get you empty-handed. If you have a blue card to pitch with your Force of Negation. Alright. So it's us with 3 cards and a Wandering Emperor against them with a 1/3. Preordain is a good one. They're going to sack their Arcanist just to preordain. They might pick up a Bolt. See, now this is a situation where I really don't want to play Fevered Visions. More preordains. So this is kind of a dead card. Serum Visions. Jeez, they're digging deep. Wizard's Lightning on my Samurai token. Okay. Now they're empty-handed. Let's Teferi. Let's plus. And they scoop. Alright, so we want Rest in Peace. We want Dovin's Veto. Path to Exile. All removal is pretty good. March is more expensive than the rest of it. All this stuff hits the Arcanist too. We'll cut Fevered Visions. Jace. And come on. What is it with these control players, man? So our final record was 4-2. Although 3 of those 4 victories were early scoops. In actual matches that we played, we went 1-2. Although, you know, in 2 of those early scoop matches, we played legitimate decks. Like, that Arcanist deck is a real thing. A lot of content creators have been playing decks like that, using Arcanist to loop back 1-mana spells. It's quite powerful. And we also played against just straight-up Murktide in Game 1. It looked like that's what that Izzet deck was in the very first game we played. So, like, we beat some legitimately good decks. So I really like this deck. I think the fundamental concept behind it is sound. The lock of a Rule of Law effect, along with a Teferi Time Rattler effect, restricting opponents to only sorcery speed. We got to see that work in several matches in the course of this video, and it's extremely powerful. And, like, if you can just protect that with your Reprieves and your Remands, like, there's nothing a lot of people can do and a lot of decks can do to get out of that. It's extremely powerful. The issue that I had, the major issue we had, was not finding the Remand effects when we needed to. And that's what brought us down against Mill, really. So this deck absolutely needs, like, a playset of Impulse, probably. It just needs more card draw effect to find the different lock pieces. Because that was the major issue, was just not having the Reprieves and Remands when we needed to. Having the mana, having the lock pieces, having them be able to just answer the lock piece, and then we're back to, you know, having to put it together again. I think the extra win cons were good. The Wandering Emperor is great. Like, this card is just very powerful. If you're playing white control deck, like, it's just kind of a no-brainer as a finisher. It gets the job done. It's a removal piece too. Like, the Wandering Emperor was a great finisher for this deck. Chandra, I don't think we ever even drew. Fevered Visions, I don't know. Maybe this card should just not be in the deck in favor of more Wandering Emperors or something. This Fevered Visions and also Jace Balerion. Where's Jace? Where's Jace? Oh, I'm looking at the wrong deck. That's why. Jace Balerion. Jace, I guess you can choose not to let your opponent draw cards 3 times and then it goes away, which, I don't know, it's kind of like a really slow divination if you think about it, which, come to think of it, isn't very good. These cards have the same problem where, like, really you want to be using Jace more than 3 times, you know, because otherwise it's just a slow divination, which means that you want to be plussing it to have everyone draw a card. And Fevered Visions has both you and your opponent draw cards. And these spells are only good when the lock is already in place, and they're effects that you don't want to play early in the game and in some situations. Like, if it's early in the game and you haven't got the combo down and your opponent is at fewer than, you know, 4 cards, or they're low on cards, you don't want to play Fevered Visions. So I kind of am feeling that those will be the cuts in favor of more cantrips to put the combo together with the Remands. And maybe that is the ultimate key, the ultimate build of this. Just cut those 3 really bad cards that are situational. You know, I do like Fevered Visions. It's a cool card, but it's so hard to make it work. Maybe 1 could be left in just for fun, but cut Jace and Fevered Visions for Impulse number 4, some other card draw spell, you know, maybe like Preordain, find room for some Preordains. have impulses and preordains in there to dig deep for the combo pieces. So other than that, I think the deck is fine. If you can find your cards that you need, like, it will win. The lock is very powerful, and it's really cool when it all comes together, and the remands just keep popping. So I will be playing this deck more. You'll see this deck again on the channel, I believe, because I do enjoy playing it. It is really fun, and next build will be even better than this one, which was better than the first one. But anyway, that's going to be it for this stream. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. If you have any suggestions or about the deck or about other stuff you would like to see, or if you just like off-meta, off-kilter MTG content. This is Shroom signing off for the evening. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video. Have a good night.